Good morning, Eamon. Well, what we're trying to do is expand the number of places for special educational needs. So every parent who's listening who has a child with special educational needs may have felt at times that they're sort of battling to try and get the right support or the right provision, because we've had a massive increase in demand. So what we've been doing over time is increasing the number of places. So what we've been doing is putting more money into it, 2.6 billion. This is the last tranche today, 850 million. And overall, that will increase the number of special educational need places by 60,000 all across the country. So every area will get an increase in capacity.
And will there be any impact on councils, and their provision with this increase in funding? I mean, the pressure, you said this is increasing capacity. Lots of parents are saying that this isn't working well. I think actually you've been quoted saying it isn't working well, the system for anyone as it stands. Are there any sort of pressure points still after this funding's been released?
Well, we do have a special educational needs improvement plan, and that shows that we know that we need to improve the system. And there's a number of strands to that. So there'll be more workforce being trained as well, educational psychologists, SENCOs, etc. So there's a lot of things in the plan. But this specifically is looking at more places. But the council pressures, we have increased this sort of high needs budget to pay for this part of their budget to 10.5 million. So that's actually gone up 60% in the last 5 years to cope with that increased demand. But we also have two programmes to work with councils delivering better value and safety valve, because we know it's not equal, and it has gone up quite considerably, because we just have more and more children with special educational needs, probably because we know more about special educational needs and we care about making sure we get the right provision for children.
Yeah, and just to be clear about this, you're not talking about the way maybe in days of old it would be that children with similar conditions would be educated together, put together, or are you talking about them being integrated into ordinary classrooms?
Well, we have some integration into mainstream schools, and we have some separate annexes which we've created more places within mainstream schools. But also there are times when you need specialist provision, so particularly with specialist autism provision, for example. And some of that today is being provided by the independent sector. One of the things that many people don't know is our special educational needs provision today, about 38% of the schools are independent schools. And that's why this pernicious education tax that Labour are proposing would absolutely destroy that sector as well. So we're trying to build up the number of places by 60,000, but we do need to make sure that we keep all parts of the sector in place, because they're all doing different things, and it is very broad spectrum of different need that we're trying to meet, or they're trying to meet. But they're not, largely they're specialist trusts with a lot of track record in delivering specialist provision.
OK. I want to talk to you this morning, if you will, a little bit about China. And there's reports about cabinet clashes on how to deal with whether you call it a challenge or a threat. Obviously, at the moment, the Prime Minister sticking with challenge on that. Treasury worried about our economic partnerships, fifth biggest trading partner for us in the UK. Where do you stand on this? Do you think these sanctions have gone far enough? And do you think they should be declared a threat?
Well, it is a complex issue, clearly. I mean, what they've said is there's, sanctions, obviously, for what the National Cyber Security have said have been breaches, and there's 2 individuals that have been sanctioned, and there's some other travel restrictions as well. And what Oliver's said is that's the first step along the way. I mean, I'll be going to Cabinet after this morning round, so we'll be, I guess, talking about it there. But I do recognise the complexity, because clearly, starting, some sort of trade issues is what we want to avoid as well. So it is complex, but we do need to be firm as well. And we've been working with our allies both to understand the threats that we face, either as parliamentarians or to our electoral system, or to other things as well. That's why we obviously took steps to take Chinese-owned companies, state-owned companies out of our national infrastructure when we took those steps a couple of years ago. So we are always vigilant, and we are always aware and looking and working with others and our allies. But of course, it is a complex problem as well, because we do get a lot of our imports from China.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Just explain that one again to me. You do want to avoid trade issues Now, that's the key. That's the key to everything. So you can act annoyed with them, but you can't really be annoyed with them and do anything practical about it.
Well, I mean, the diplomatic part of this is obviously going to be handled by the Foreign Office, and they will have the ambassador in. I think they've called for the ambassador to come in. But clearly everybody knows what the complexities of this situation are. You've got national security, but you've also got, a large trading partner.
The language that's been used to describe this, turning up to a gunfight with a wooden spoon, that was what one SNP MP said. And then you've got Ian Duncan-Smith, who's been personally a victim of a lot of the spying by the Chinese, saying that the sanctions that were announced yesterday were like an elephant giving birth to a mouse. Daily Mail this morning saying fury at feeble rebuke to China. I mean, Eamon's absolutely spot on, isn't it? You're toughening up your language, but really, this is going to have no impact at all on China.
Well, this is the first step, but I think, it is something that colleagues are always considering. And we have taken action in the past. I think it was quite a big decision to take Huawei, as it was, out of our national infrastructure. That wasn't an easy decision at the time, but it was one that we took. So we do take measured responses, but we do take response. And of course, we will always be vigilant and always look to what we need to do. National security is the most important thing. So, in this case, they were not successful attempts, but of course we all need to make sure that remains the case. And our electoral system, there's a lot of elections going on this year, is absolutely key, and we need to make sure that we protect our security.
Secretary of State, thanks for your thoughts this morning. Good luck with your project in integrating those kids with disabilities and various other problems into the school network. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much.